One.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Dr. Reese Live. I am your host, Coach Sean, and right here with me is Dr. Kevin Reese. How are you doing tonight?
Good. We just finished the audio book of the Purple book today, so that should be uploaded soon. And all the new books will be on Audible soon, I hope. But they've been, they haven't approved the red book yet, so I don't know what's going on.
That's weird.
Yeah, might be a little shadow banning going on.
But the members have it, right?
Well, it's in the membership. Yeah.
Yeah, you can get the audio version. In the book, I'm not familiar with the name of it right now. It should be audiobooks.
Yeah.
Membership products.
Yeah.
So, those are the only announcements for us today?
Yeah, I think so.
Anything else? All right. So, we're all familiar with your moniker, Fake Doctor. Switch to I love my fake doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you go with the name Fake Doctor?
Well, when I first came back in 2021, and then things went viral shortly after, I just started getting attacked anyway. So, it was quack or snake oil salesman or, grifter. Grifter's another one, right?
He got his diploma in the mail.
Yeah, got his diploma in the mail, came in the mail, yeah. Bought the diploma, I just kept getting hit with all that. So I thought Fake Doctor was fitting.
Because you're the complete opposite of a medical doctor.
Yeah. So I made it a moniker, and, I think the people that know. And the people that don't know, well, hopefully they either want to maybe stick around or, skedaddle.
Yeah.
That's up to them. But
with all the doctors, and I've gotten this so many times, when on the phone with new prospects, and they're like, does Dr. Reese have what's his education like? Or what is the letters next to his name mean and stuff like that? Do you think that actually matters when trying to heal somebody?
no, not in respect for healing, no. Now, if you're going to perform a surgery, yeah, right? But healing, there really is no degree for healing. I was helping people heal for 8 years as a health coach. That was my title. I was a health coach for 8 years. Some of our biggest testimonies, Kim Wiggins, who had a tumor, was blocking the birth canal. They told her that she was going to die at childbirth. Not only is she still alive, but her kid is in middle school. That was before I had a doctorate.
So it's the work that speaks.
It's the work. Yeah, it's the work. See, I was just, at the beginning of my career, the first few years, I was like, maybe I should go all the way and get that that doctorate. And then I had to look for someone that would accept me. I was like, 33, 34 at the time. And I finally found a school, and I did it. It took 5 years.
Did you feel like it was worth it, though?
Well, I don't use any of the knowledge. That's,
Yeah, that's what I'm
that's the
saying.
thing about it is I don't, you know, I passed the test and I did a thesis, but I don't use any of that knowledge. Zero. I use a lot of the knowledge that I learned from when I went to study posture and the musculoskeletal system. You know, it was a little more hands-on, but ultimately I was just looking to get the doctor thing. You know, I didn't know I was going to be attacked that bad.
Yeah.
It's just people don't know the difference between a PhD and an MD. They really don't. So, a PhD is a doctor of philosophy. You know, Albert Einstein is Dr. Einstein. He's not going to perform a surgery. Jordan Peterson is Dr. Peterson. He's not going to perform a surgery. You know. So, even Shaq has a PhD. Shaquille O'Neal has a PhD.
Really?
Dr. O'Neal.
Interesting.
And so I chose a PhD because I felt at the time that I was more of a teacher. And, you know, professors typically have PhDs. So that's why I chose it. Otherwise, I would have went for an ND, naturopathic physician.
Do you feel like people get more credibility behind the letters next to their name?
Yeah, I think it helps. I think it helps. I think Dr. Reese is more successful than Kevin Reese. When you look at the 8 years of just being Kevin Reese, the health coach, Coach Reese, you know, it helps, you know, but it has nothing to do with head to toe healing. It has nothing to do with helping people get better.
Because you developed that on your own. So, like, you did that through practice.
I'm self-studied.
Yeah.
I'm self-studied. I studied Dr. Joel Wallach. I studied Ryan Alexander. I studied Peter Agascu. I studied Joe Dispenza. I studied, you know, Dr. John Sarno. I could go down the list. I studied brain experts. I studied gut experts, feet experts, knee experts. I just found people and studied them in order to learn the whole body. This is completely on me. There's no school. I created my own school, if you will. I just studied and learned enough to know the whole body. And then when I made this discovery, so to speak, of head to toe healing, it just became a thing of, if you just practice it, it's going to work. Your chronic symptoms are going to disappear over time. And, you know, it works. It works. So, you know, I don't really do too much studying anymore. There's not much time to. But, so I'm not an expert in the feet or the knees or the gut. I know enough to connect the dots.
Yeah.
But connecting the dots is more important than being an expert on a particular area, because that's the problem with the medical monopoly. They zoom in.
Yeah.
Right. So if you go to a gut specialist, the gut specialist isn't on the same page as the brain specialist, and the brain specialist isn't on the same page as the eye specialist, and the eye specialist isn't on the same page as the foot specialist, and the foot specialist isn't on the same page as the joint specialist, and it goes on and on. You can go to an eye doctor and a retina doctor.
No, I hear it all the time. It's the craziest cases. They're like, one doctor's like, why did that doctor put you on that?
Right.
And then it's like, do this instead. And
Right.
then the other doctor's, why'd you get off of this medication? We're trying to, it's
And
it's
we're
ridiculous.
wiping that clean.
Yeah.
We're wiping that clean, and we're saying, screw all of that. Just practice head to toe healing every day for the rest of your life. Watch your symptoms disappear. Okay? Some may take a few months, some may take a few years. You just keep doing it and doing it and doing it. You will age backwards. You know, if you're disciplined and courageous enough to practice head to toe healing, you will age backwards.
How long did it take you to develop this head to toe healing?
You could, in a way, say my whole career up until 2021.
Really?
Right? But no, I remember when it happened. I was laying on the floor doing postural therapy. My mind is blown because who knew? Posture. Who knew? I didn't know. Did you know? I didn't know. And, you know, the pain that I was in was gone in 3 weeks. I was like, oh my gosh, this is insane. This is crazy, you know? And then I met a guy who healed his back through his mind. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I already knew about nutrition. So it was just like, it just had this epiphany one day, like this divine download of put all three together, start virtual clinic. You know, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is good stuff. And I did, and it worked.
It makes so much sense because I remember when I started getting into health, what was starting to get big was the gut-brain axis and all of those. But I began to look into it, and I'm like, nobody really talks about the eye-brain axis or the spine-toe axis. You know, I feel like everybody just always goes to specific areas of the body without looking at it as a whole. We don't say, oh my gosh, look at those tires. We say, look at that car. You know, we focus on the whole vehicle.
Right.
Why are we always just focusing on little parts of the body as opposed to the whole body? I feel like studying with you, I'm realizing that everything is a full body issue at the end of the day.
That's it.
Arthritis in your hand is still a full body issue, you know?
That's it. And that's all highlighted in Reverse the Cause, the book. 60 plus conditions. You know, you have, you know, the medical monopoly gives you some fancy word as your diagnosis. Let's just call it, let's say fibromyalgia. And you don't realize that it could be coming from the nutrition, it could be coming from the posture, and it could be coming from the mind. And you don't know which one it's coming from.
Yeah.
And guess what? It doesn't matter. You just practice head to toe healing every day and it will go away.
Patience.
And courage.
Yeah.
And courage. There's someone watching right now that doesn't have the courage to do it yet. It takes courage. You know?
It's a whole lifestyle change, right?
That's it. It's a whole, it's a shift. It's a mindset shift, you know? But yeah, I think people need to, and I might be biased, but that doesn't mean I'm wrong. People need to get on board with this head to toe healing thing and, you know, ditch the medical monopoly unless they're in prison. Like I talk about in the Red Book. If they're in prison, then they might need the medical monopoly for a little bit. They might have to balance. But, you know, this head to toe healing thing is legit. And I think that it's evident by the testimonies that we have all on video. And we're going to release a book, the Green Book, which is going to highlight those testimonies. So, yeah, I think, you know, we discovered something here. I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know how long it's going to take to get this to the masses. You know, for all I know, it'll take another 50 years. I don't know. And also I want to say the name wasn't there right away. If you read Peace Over Pain, there's not much mention of head to toe healing because the name wasn't there yet. I was going by a holistic doctor, you know. And I started getting attacked, and the attorney was like, "Oh, I don't know if you want to do that." And I'm like, "All right, I'll start calling myself a healer." Trademark the name so that doctor's actually in my name, you know, like Dr. Dre, Dr. Phil, you know. And one day, I believe I was on the phone with Tamara in her first stint, and I said something along the lines of, you know, people just need to heal head to toe. And I was like, oh my gosh, this sounds so good, head to toe. And she didn't like it, of course. She never likes my ideas. And she immediately started singing the song, head to toe.
I know.
And, you know, but it stuck. And I was persistent with staying with it, even when people were like, I don't know, that name's weird. Like, no, this is what it has to be. I just know this is what it has to be.
Mm.
So I invented head to toe healing before the name. The name came a year later.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, yeah, head to toe healing. That's it. The head to toe healing analysis, the head to toe healing membership. And that's what we got to help people get better. No specific qualifications needed. This could just as easily be happening without a PhD next to my name.
So we did go on a tangent, but circling back around to, like, does education matter? And if someone were to come up to you and ask that question, like, what is your background? What are your initials next to your name? What would you say to them?
I would say I earned a PhD, but everything that I put forth is all self-study. It's all self-study.
Thank you. Well, here comes your favorite part. I really wanted to get Karen's input on this whole subject.
And then we got to get Ryan too.
Oh yeah, another.
Absolutely. Well, you know, as you've been talking here, my fake doctor, because I found you 2 years ago as my fake doctor.
It's a long time ago.
I know.
Now,
And
was it called head to toe healing back then?
No, it was not.
Yeah. See?
It was not. It was peace over pain.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted peace over pain back then. And you know what's ironic is tomorrow, the 29th, marks the 2-year mark of me starting the head to toe healing challenge, the 120 challenge.
Yeah.
Wow.
Tomorrow, which is amazing. And what's incredible is even though you might be a fake doctor, take advantage of that name, because when I go into restaurants and I'm trying to order off the menu, they don't always have what I want to order. And so I use the line, my doctor said, I can't have gluten and I can't have oil. They have a sense of authority. And by me being able to pull that out of my back pocket, it makes it so much easier dealing with the person that's serving the food.
Right.
And the credibility in the kitchen. So thank you for that, for being the doctor.
The fake doctor.
Yeah. But one thing I wanted to bring up is, in addition to that, you're a professional dot connector. When you look at people's bodies and you evaluate people's bodies, it's truly amazing how you put the pieces together for them, nutritionally, mentally, and physically. And all of this is virtual. And we have so many people in our group, in our membership, from all around the world. And thank goodness it is virtual, because there's no way I would have been able to do it either, because I'm not in Connecticut with you guys.
Right.
And so I'm really thankful that was possible. But to add on to that, it was making me think of a story when my kids were young. I dropped my son off at wrestling, and I was taking my daughter over to the mall to get something. And I had just recently got my tires changed on my car, my SUV. And I'm driving, and all of a sudden, I had no control over the vehicle. The steering wheel, I could like turn it in circles. And I didn't understand what was happening, and I had to pull over immediately and get parked because we had just come off the freeway. Thank goodness we were not on the freeway when that happened. I got myself pulled over, and then I called a friend who's a mechanic, and he's like, your tie rods aren't connected. And I'm like, what the heck are tie rods? And he was a professional dot connector for me on the auto side of things. So the tie rods connect to your wheels and make the vehicle run. And that's what makes the steering wheel operate. And the tie rods were not connected. And we were in a position where we literally could have been killed,
Right.
you know? So the reason why I bring this up is you being a professional dot connector allows people to have that story put together to know what that missing link is that they've been searching for in the medical system for years and not getting the answers because everybody's looking at, the steering wheel, the tires, it could be anything. It could be the sparks plugs, it could be the shifter, whatever. I'm not an auto mechanic person, but you connect the dots for people in a way nobody else does. And that is truly amazing. And that's why we have so many people in our membership, is because they found that, getting that symptom score to go down is incredible.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. It's like I said, let's see how long it takes to get this out to the masses. I don't know what it's going to take, but we'll see. What do you think,
Could I
Ryan?
jump in with a car analogy too?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
absolutely.
Actually, it's not even an analogy. It's actually what happened to my car. But what happened to my car is very similar to what happens to a lot of people before they find head to toe healing. Because, they have a problem like in their foot, in their eye, in their stomach, in their whatever, and they got a different specialist, like you said, for each one of these things. And sometimes most of the time they're on a drug for each one of these different things. They're on a drug for blood pressure, they're on a drug for blood sugar, they're on a diuretic, they're on an antidepressant, they're on all these different things because all of their doctors or one doctor, they think it's a bunch of different separate problems. Well, the same thing was happening with my car. Everything was going wrong on it. I kept blowing starters. I kept replacing the starter. This is pretty expensive, right? Starter after starter. What the heck is going on here? My AC's not working. Nothing's working. What's going on with my car? And we couldn't find the problem until one guy comes along and he says, well, there's a ground. All of your stuff is grounded out. Your ground is disconnected. Or it's partially connected. It keeps coming off and it's throwing everything off in the car. So I was fixing every individual part and racking my brain like, do I just buy a new car here because everything's going wrong? No, it's just one simple problem. And in the case of the human body, it's usually not one simple problem, but the root, like you say in reverse the cause, the root is usually just something that is never suspected by regular medical doctors. In my case, all of my friends, everyone who knew anything about cars, no one suspected the ground. It was just one thing that one guy with that experience needed to bring it all together and say, wait a minute, it's not a problem with your starter. It's not a problem with your AC. It's not a problem with your brakes, everything. There's something bigger. There's something deeper. There's a root here that we're not seeing, and he found it.
And just like that, fixed, right?
Fixed.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the thing, is a lot of people that come into our membership have had so many conversations in the medical community and they're running into brick walls. They're not getting the results or answers that they're looking for, or it's just a revolving door of medications to fix one problem that then creates another problem that creates another problem. So it's refreshing once they have that analysis to really see how to connect those dots to begin to get those symptoms to go away. Like Ryan was saying, it could be it could be a missing link, but a lot of times those symptoms that occur cause so many different chronic conditions and they overlap in the body to many different things.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that the medical profession, they don't study nutrition. I think between you and Ryan and Coach Sean and, well, all of us on the team, we've studied hours upon hours of nutritional information.
Yeah. Well, I think if anyone at home wants to start making the process in, they should call drreese.com, schedule a call, watch the free class, make a step. Make the step. We don't just put people into the membership. You got to take some steps. Get your analysis, get your call, and get focused, get serious, and eventually you'll be on the inside and you'll be right here in the Zoom room with us. There's 49 people here today.
Dr. Reese, there was two things I was hoping you would be able to comment on.
Yep.
You've said before, maybe it was in private conversation with me, I don't remember, but you said that the postural therapy was more difficult than the PhD.
Yeah.
Could you expand on that?
Well, 600 muscles, 200 bones, thousands of tendons and ligaments and fascia. The human body is fascinating. It is very complicated. And yeah, I found the musculoskeletal system to be more difficult to learn than nutrition and mindfulness. And I think mindfulness is the easiest to understand. It's just hard. It's just hard to practice because you're stuck in your head, Nutrition can be complicated when you start getting in all the enzymes and the aminos, but the musculoskeletal system, man, it's a work of art. It is insane. The femur and the tib fib and the acetabulum. And the muscles are just, oh my gosh, there's muscles upon muscles. There's muscles under muscles. There's muscles under muscles. So it's like you think about the trapezius, right? It's a well-known muscle. There's a bunch of muscles under the trapezius, And, the psoas muscle, how it goes from the lower back down to the femur. I mean, that's just like... It's insane. There's no way we're not intelligently designed. There's no way. It's not possible. To have this muscle that starts on your lower back, comes through your pelvis, and attaches to your femur, which is what we're using right now to sit down. The psoas, Yeah, cross your leg like this. That's the sartorius muscle, which is known as the tailor's muscle, because tailors used to tailor your clothes with their leg crossed. Things like that. The sartorius.
Jeez.
And a lot of the muscles cross joints. So, like the sartorius crosses joints. So if you think about it like a rubber band, it starts here and ends here, but in between there's a joint. So you have a puppeteering type thing happening, right? And then that roots back to the mind because it's attached to the nervous system. And then that roots back to the nutrition because the muscle needs a certain amount of nutrients. So a little bit of a tangent there, but the posture and the musculoskeletal system is the most fascinating, in my opinion. It's hard. It's hard, and we're bringing on a musculoskeletal expert who's going to be doing Fridays now. This Friday will be her first class. Her name is Rain Krause, and whoever comes to her class is going to be overwhelmed. You're going to be overwhelmed. I'm telling you right now. You're not ready. You're not ready.
Not at all.
It's different than the other classes, And she knows those muscles.
I think
You said
that's
earlier that you don't use what you learned in the nutrition PhD. And I'd like to know more about what you did actually learn in the nutrition PhD, but I'd like to say something first. A lot of people are looking at me like a nutrition sort of expert. I don't have any degrees or anything like that. I've just been doing this for 10 years, and I like the study. I'm interested in it. I'm obsessed with it in a way, and now that's my job to learn about this. But the guy who fixed me was a bus driver. He was a bus driver. He drank, he smoked, he worked in the mines for 30 years. He didn't know anything about nutrition, really, like any of the details at all. Couldn't tell you any of the details. Couldn't tell you anything about the musculoskeletal system, and yet I had arthritis, and this man fixed me very, very easily. It wasn't a big deal for him. I had a great result. It's not always that easy. I'm just saying, this guy he grew up in the mines, in the nickel mines. He drove truck for 20 years, another 20 years after that, with a cigarette hanging out of his mouth the entire time.
Yeah.
Right? He was driving a city bus. A buddy of mine ran into him, and we became friends, and he fixed me. You don't need a medical degree to know what to do. There's a grassroots movement out there that we're part of, passing on this information. And now, we've combined that with you. We've joined forces here and putting in the postural alignment therapy as well, which is very complicated. My wife was studying to be a personal trainer this whole summer. I know it's not the same thing, but I was amazed by how much she had to learn just to be a personal trainer. I don't know anything about this. I can't name muscles for you and tendons and ligaments. I can talk about the nutrients that are involved in them, but I can't give you an overview of the anatomy of the skeleton. I just can't do it. It's too complicated. And so she was working her buns off all summer, studying this huge textbook just for personal training.
Yeah.
Just to know the body, because the body is very, very complicated. But yeah, I would be interested to know what you did actually learn in nutrition, because that is your credential. It's not just a PhD in social science or something. You're not a psychologist here. You learned this in nutrition, but you said you don't use a lot of that. So what did they teach you?
It was very plant-based, very acid alkaline. Yeah, man, it was a long time ago. So I don't know how much I could speak to it, but my thesis was like on the medical monopoly, kind of the beginning of the Red Book.
Was that the time that you were more plant-based?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Sort of, yeah, on the cusp of ending it, yeah. Yep. I was just trying to get the doctor title, man. That's all. But I had, if anyone knows my story, I quit. By the time my degree came, I was done. I wasn't taking clients or nothing. I was burnt out. And I was just going to do Sunlight Sunny and do the children's project. But so I got called back to do all this.
How?
It'll be in my memoir when it comes out in 2027.
Wow, you're gonna make us wait that long?
That long.
That's crazy.
It's not needed now. But yeah, I got called back to this, and here we are. So.
All right. Coach Ryan, did you have any other questions for Dr. Reese?
I'm just interested in this whole concept because, you're saying that the doctor title gives you credibility. Well, really, people who are skeptical, it's only the MD, medical doctor, that's going to satisfy them anyways. So, a lot of people have told me, like my wife and stuff, maybe you should go become a naturopath. And my response is the skeptics don't care about that either. The ND is a joke to those people anyways. We're not going to satisfy them.
Right.
And I'm definitely not going to go be an MD and learn about drugs. There's no point in that. I don't want to be a surgeon or anything.
No, yeah.
I'm not going to dispense drugs. So why would I do that? And it's only the MD that's going to satisfy them anyways. I could go and get a PhD, and like you're saying, Dr. Reese, like we've seen, I answer your comments. I know it's not going to satisfy them. No. They love you or they hate you. And the haters are not going to be satisfied by any doctor. The doctorate itself doesn't matter. But you're also saying, and you made a post recently about this too, that The letters don't matter anyways. They don't matter anyways. I don't personally see a need to go to school for this. As long as you do keep studying, keep practicing, keep learning. I'm learning new stuff all the time. But in general, like I said, with the bus driver that fixed me, people ask me this. They say, well, what do I need to do what you do, Ryan? And I say, you probably know more than you need to know already. Right? Because I'm doing lives on Instagram and stuff, answering questions. I never had that. We never saw that. We learned the basics, use these few products, get them off of the bad foods, and you're usually good to go. You usually don't need to know anything more than that. People think they need to be an expert in order to begin. No, you don't. I didn't know anything when I started. I had arthritis. I fixed my arthritis. I'd be in the grocery store looking at someone who's hunched over or crippled or someone who can't grab the food off the shelf well, and I'd go up to them and say, hey, I think I can help you. And most of the time, the protocols worked very well. And eventually you run into cases that are tougher and you got to learn a little bit extra to help them. But you really don't need to know much to help yourself or to help other people. It's great if you have somebody confident that can actually give you the recommendation, but they actually don't need to know how that recommendation works. They don't need to know why it works. They just need to know that it works.
Right. Yeah, you're not going to satisfy everyone. And yeah, I mean, the doctor title helps with a bunch of things that, it helps with business in a way. It probably helped my dating life. It probably did. But it's just not necessary for healing. It's just, it just gives you a little bit of status. I could call a restaurant and make a special, reservation or stuff like that, but it has nothing to do with head to toe healing at all.
I just wanted to share one other little story. We were at a party. One of our friend's nephews, he's been going to medical school. He's in his late 20s. And he was saying to his uncle, when I get my degree, you're going to have to call me Dr. Smith.
Yeah.
And the uncle said to him, no. I've known you since you were born. I'm going to call you Dr. Pepper.
Yeah. Yeah.
The title doesn't matter.
No.
In any circumstances, really.
Well, something that happened to me was I was so uncomfortable with it at first. I was at an event and the mayor of my town was there. And she was going around shaking hands, kissing babies, And she gets to me and I introduce myself as Kevin Reese. And my buddy, I just got my doctorate, a few weeks ago, whatever it was. And he was like, wait a second. You went to school for that long. You went through all of that and you just introduced yourself as Kevin Reese. Why didn't you say Dr. Kevin Reese? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. And he's like, you got to get over that. Whatever that is, you got to get over that. Mm-hmm. And he challenged me to call every restaurant I could to make special reservations as Dr. Kevin Reese. And so eventually I got used to it and I started looking at it as a stage name.
Yeah. That's all it is at the end of the day,
It's
right?
a stage name. That's it. Like Dr. Dre.
I think the real question is, are they healing people? Are people reversing their chronic conditions?
It's all about the testimonials on video.
Yeah.
That's all that matters in all of this. That's it. I have no desire to debate with anyone. I just say, look, I got testimonies on video. If you want to play yours and I'll play mine, we can do that. I don't have to say a word. I don't even have to be in the room. Would you like to do that? So that's that.
So we have a couple of questions or comments from the members.
To the members we go.
To the members we go. Got a question from Ken. Ken is asking, can postural misalignment create cardiac symptoms?
Heck yeah. Postural misalignment can cause almost everything. It's your vehicle. It's your structure that you're walking around Earth with. Your heart is inside your rib cage. Your rib cage are connected to muscles. So,
Thank you.
yeah, if your ribs are being pulled all over the place, you know, you're talking your heart, you're talking your diaphragm, you're talking your lungs, and there's all these nerves going in there. Oh my gosh. It's just a complicated little machine.
I honestly, you know, it took me a while to come around to posture therapy, and that aha moment came when I actually went to a chiropractor. You know, went to a chiropractor.
Spent $1 million. Yeah. I got you.
Went to the chiropractor.
Anyone spending $1 million here? I don't think so.
Oh God. And I got an X-ray done, and I remember us looking at the X-rays, and he was just as perplexed as me, because he's like, "Why is your intestine showing up on the X-ray?" My intestines were so inflamed and pushed up into my ribs that essentially they were able to see the intestines, but he was like, "Your intestines shouldn't be there, and the only thing that's going to get it corrected is posture correction." Of course, it didn't work with him, but it worked with you. And that's really what kind of settled it for me, that posture is important, but how you move your body, the way, whatever, the modality that you use to correct your body matters as well.
Yep.
It doesn't make sense. I mean, to a degree, chiropractic is beneficial, but it's like a clock. I learned it's like the clock is ticking, and that's your dysfunction. Chiropractic is just going to set the clock back. It's not going to stop the ticking. You have to actually correct the misalignment of the movements. It's like there's certain movements that you're not doing correctly, and it's complicated, like you said, but once you correct those misalignments, everything will fall back into place. It's kind of the same view, how we view nutrition. You focus on the macro, kind of let everything fall into place and let the body intelligently fix the issue. We have another question from Catherine. Dr. Reese, my great-granddaughter was just born with a tethered spine. Have you heard of this?
Yeah.
Thanks. Wow.
Yeah. Well, she's born with it.
Yeah.
I always say, if you're not born with it, it's not yours. So this is the opposite.
Is there anything, like, at least like an improvement on quality of life, you feel? You can only see.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big discussion for another time, probably.
You've just got to try.
Yeah.
We don't have to go
Yeah,
through the
you
details
always
here.
have to try, yeah.
If someone's born with something and they say, "Can it be improved?" My answer is always, "I don't know, but let's try. Let's see if you do get improvement." I don't know. The body's a miracle.
Because
The body can heal.
you can give the baby nutrients, you know, you can make it happen.
I've been surprised many times, thinking that something was permanent because they're born with it, and maybe it's not all the way improved, but like I said, I've been very, very surprised and astonished by how much the body is able to improve.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Just checking. I'm going to hop over to this. Tamara, did you have any questions from the other socials or
Members.
members?
Well, there's a question here that Ryan had answered. It's about the supplements and certain ingredients. Do we want to ask that, or is that already covered? Maybe Ryan, you can say something about that.
I basically shared that they were asking about natural ingredients and gums. And I shared the video that Dr. Reese, you and I made with the head formulator, Richard Renton. We actually made 2 of those videos. I think they're both about an hour each, where he addresses this directly. And the simple answer is, in some cases, it actually is natural ingredients. I know a lot of companies use the word natural ingredients to hide bad stuff in, but we trust the company. And Dr. Reese and I sat down with the man himself who made the products and explained exactly what the natural flavors is and means. And it can be natural. And in the case of gums, I mean, a lot of people are worried about gums, like guar gum and xanthan gum and stuff like that. And gums aren't always necessary. They're usually used in like gluten-free cooking because gluten-free flours are not very sticky, so you use a gum to make it a little bit more sticky. But if you Google it, it'll just tell you that, oh yeah, in higher doses, it may cause gastric upset. So if you take a lot of gums, and I mean a lot, and I'm talking teaspoon, tablespoon type of doses, you eat a whole batch of gluten-free cookies that has a bunch of gum in it, it may cause bloating or some stomach pain or maybe some constipation. But in the doses that we're using, specifically in one of our main products, it's like the last ingredient on the label, so it's like the least amount. It's a tiny pinch. It's just there as a little stabilizer. And nobody's really saying these gums are toxic anyways. Just the main concern is that they could literally gum up the system a little bit, especially if you use high doses. We're not using those doses. It's not a concern.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's an example of what I was talking about earlier with self-study, sitting down with someone like Richard Renton and learning that level of formulation is pretty cool. It's rare to sit down with a professional veteran formulator.
Yeah. Yeah. Learn a lot.
Yeah.
I saw one question from Andrea. She's asking any tips to get rid of hiatal hernia.
I mean, my answer is going to be head to toe healing. Right? When you're dealing with hernia, you're dealing with muscles, the musculoskeletal system. And then you're dealing with the nutrition that fuels the muscles. So I don't know if you have any more to add to that, Ryan. But
Well, we have the soft tissue month in the 120, which we just kind of went in and redesigned it a little bit, just changed it a little bit. And it targeted it before. It's also still targets it now. I can make a module on this for the nutrition course that's part of the membership. I was thinking about it. It's a pretty important thing. It's pretty simple to go through actually as well. But yeah, it's basically we're just using postural therapy, of course, make sure the spine is straightened out and the muscles are not bullying things around. Digestion protocol, of course, because a hiatal hernia is in the stomach, right? It's a hernia of the stomach. So do the regular digestion protocol. Fasting can help this as well, just to keep action away from the system right now, right? The stomach is a balloon that expands and contracts. So you want to not give it too much work to do. Leave it alone a little bit as much as you can, liquid foods and stuff. And we basically just add more connective tissue support on top of the 90 essential nutrients and hope that that's all we need. We could do extra vitamin C. We could add a few extra nutrients because it is kind of a serious thing. If we want to speed it up, we can absolutely do that. We can discuss this on the nutrition class on Thursday or Sunday as well. I sent them to the link where they can submit the question, which that's only for the members, of course. But yeah, we can discuss any of those specific things. I can make a short module for that because you don't need that much. And in the nutrition course, the way it is, we touch a lot on connective tissue. Lots of nutrients are involved there. And we've mentioned this before on one of the lives. If a hernia happens to be poking out the outside, which in a hiatal is probably not, but if it happens to be poking out, we can use a compression garment as well to just hold it into place and just help it heal that way as well.
there you go.
Is it muscle weakness at the root? I'm not fully familiar with it.
It could be
Connective tissue weakness.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it could be coming from a million different ways,
Connective tissue holds muscles in place too, right?
Mm-hmm.
It holds veins together, so a bulging vein, right? Hemorrhoid, a varicose vein, all this stuff. A hernia is just a bulge. It's a bulge in the tire. You hit a pothole too hard with the tire, you get a bubble pop out the side of the tire.
Yeah.
So weakness in the connective tissue. It's kind of crude analogy, but it's basically the same thing.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Tamara, you got any more
From social media or members?
members?
Not really. Someone's asking about a certain book, document, or literature to learn symptom types correlating to posture imbalances, possible meridians. Do you have a recommendation?
Just reverse the cause.
Okay.
Anything on the socials?
Yeah, there's some questions on socials. Someone was asking, actually, Janet, I think she's one of our members. Is it safe to drink a hot beverage from a 24% lead crystal mug?
No.
Can you expand on that, Ryan?
Yeah, people don't know that lead is a very common ingredient in crystal, especially fancy crystal. It's ceramic as well, lots of ceramic. Ironically, if you go to like the dollar store and just buy cheap glass cups and plates and stuff, they're very unlikely to have any lead in it. It's
Yeah.
the fancy stuff that's more likely to have the lead in it.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, lead is still a very common ingredient to this day. There's hardly any restrictions on what they're allowed to use in the manufacturing of ceramics and crystal glasses and stuff. And a lot of this stuff comes from China and overseas anyways, so they don't care anyways. They're shipping it to America. What do they care? So yeah, no. Try to avoid lead. And ceramics and crystals are two of your top things. And if you add heat to it, then that makes it even more available. But yeah, throw those things out.
Okay.
Yeah, glass is always the best bet. Go ahead, Tamara.
Just clean glass, yeah.
Susie Q on socials has some questions for you. One is, what fascinates you the most of what you do?
What fascinates me the most about what I do? Wow. I can't say the testimonials because they happen all the time, so they're pretty much expected at this point. Although fascinating. I guess what's fascinating is the level of attacks. I mean, I'm used to it now, but when they first started, it was like, really? Really? It's just a really moment. Like, really? It's that serious? Really? And the vigilantes, as I call them. The vigilantes. The haters are okay. Haters are fine. Haters and debaters are okay. It's the vigilantes that are the problem.
She also wants to know, have you helped people with COPD or lung issues? And she also commented that she bought a couple books already and sent to a few friends.
All right.
Wow.
Very cool. Yeah, we work with lots of people with lung issues, reversed asthma a bunch of times. Never had a full reversal of COPD, but have had success with feeling better. So, yeah, lungs are just soft tissue.
It's interesting. So someone had made a comment about the topic earlier. Truest Self is saying, if I could drop out of college for my master's in nutrition, I would now that I know what I know.
Yeah. Yeah, if you want to go to school for something cool, go to school for marketing or something. And then learn nutrition by yourself. You know?
And there's just another comment about self-study, which is the deepest and most sustainable kind of way.
Yeah. No tests, no papers. You just have to learn it. You know?
And then as far as people are asking questions about how can they be a part of our team,
Like on staff?
I'm not sure.
Well,
Maybe. Actually, we had a couple of people ask, how do I become a coach?
well, you probably should become a member first. So You can start with the head to toe healing class. Classbydrreese.com. Classbydrreese.com. Watch the
Class with Dr. Reese.
one more again.
Classwithdrreese.com.
Okay. It's not by.
Class with.
All right, cool. Classwithdrreese.com. You can go watch my 33-minute class, learn about what we're doing, and schedule a call if you'd like.
And someone is actually asking about the analysis, asking, can Dr. Reese tell someone what their symptoms are from doing the analysis? That would be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, just by seeing the spine and the shoulders and the knees and all that, I can pretty much, not only can I tell you what's going on, I can kind of predict what's going to happen. I evaluated a body the other day that she had a low symptom score. Her symptom score was like a 4 or a 5, which is really good. Anything that's a 5 or under is like, you're pretty darn healthy. But her posture was messed up, and she was young. She was like late 40s. I say that because it's around my age. She was young, and but it's like, you know, if she doesn't correct the situation, what's she gonna feel when she's 60? So that's the thing with the analysis, is it tells you what direction you're going in. That's what's really important about it. And you walk away with that symptom score, and it creates a gauge. It creates a marker. So you know which way you're going. Are you going in the bad direction? Are you going in the good direction? And I see, you know, bunions all the time on people. I call it Bunionville. Sometimes it's not even in their intake form. They don't have it on there at all. And I'm like, no, look. That bone is sticking out. It's going to inflame any day now. Next question.
I feel like most people are told it's genetic.
Oh, genetics is the excuse for everything, right?
Yeah.
I'm surprised they don't use that for like school shootings and murders and serial killers. Or maybe they do. It's genetics. Got it from his grandmother.
Jeez.
Somebody's asking about fatty liver and what vitamins to take for that.
I'll let Ryan shine on that one.
Well, we would do the 90 essential nutrients, all 90 essential nutrients. And I don't know how many details you want to give out, but we would do extra selenium and extra vitamin E. If you just run out and buy selenium and vitamin E, I guarantee it's not going to work. Every cell in your body needs all 90 essential nutrients. We're typically very low on many of them, especially if you come with an already existing problem like fatty liver. And other than those deficiencies, let me back up. Those deficiencies are probably a consequence of a blood sugar problem.
Yeah.
Those deficiencies can cause it by itself, but the blood sugar problem was probably the root cause. Because as your body is becoming it's becoming less resistant. It's becoming more resistant to insulin. There's more sugar in your blood because the blood sugar is not getting into cells. So it goes to the liver for processing. The liver, the only thing it can do with it is turn it into fat. So it starts turning the sugar into fat, stuffing it into fat cells called adipocytes is the name, and then it starts stuffing them into organs, including the liver. If you have fatty liver, it's very likely that you also have fatty pancreas, fatty lungs, fatty heart. If you don't yet, it's going to happen eventually, because that's one of the main processes here going wrong in the metabolic syndrome. So we need selenium for all of our organs, including the liver. It's not the only nutrient that's involved. It's just one of the more important nutrients that's involved. But it's very likely that the root is a metabolic problem. It's in the blood sugar category, which is one of the categories we focus on in the 120 program. And we could focus on it beyond that if it's necessary. But typically reversing that process, that metabolic problem, shouldn't take longer than those 4 months. You should be well on your way to fully reversing the symptoms of the metabolic syndrome. Blood sugar should already be cleared up at that point. A1C should be down or reducing at that point. weight should begin to be getting lost. And although we're not going to check on it every month with a biopsy or anything, fatty organs should be on their way to not being fatty organs anymore after 4 months.
Nice.
I had a question from Donna. She's asking, what about weightlifting? Why is this never mentioned?
Our Donna?
Yeah, our Donna.
Our Donna. Hi, Donna. Weightlifting, the only problem with weightlifting is, if your posture is really out of alignment, you're going to lock yourself in. So, muscles are strong. Muscles are strong, so that's the only deal with that. But, if your posture is pretty good, then yeah, weightlift all you want. It's not a problem. Build muscle. Build those glutes. Women like to build the glutes, the squats. But, your knees got to be good for that too,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you're saying you could do weightlifting, you just need to also follow it or do PAT before.
Yeah, PAT is more important. And I always say the next best exercise for PAT is walking. You get your 10, 15,000 steps, do your PAT.
Someone is asking, how can I become a member?
Well, you can start with the class.
Classwithdrreese.com.
You sure it's not by?
It's
It's
class with Dr.
It's
Reese.
with, okay.
When?
Classwithdrreese.com. There's a 33-minute class there for you, free. Take it. Learn what we're doing, and then schedule your phone call.
Last question. Is type 1 diabetes reversible?
I've never seen it reverse. It's typically a birth defect, but we can help someone feel better. Ryan, you ever seen it reverse?
Yeah, let me jump in. So we just did we're trying out something different on the nutrition class where I actually did a lecture, and I shared the first chapter of, I'm working on the second edition of my book, Everything You Should Know About Healthy Blood Sugar. And the first chapter, well, it's actually chapter 2 after the introduction, was about type 1. And it's actually the one part that I got negative feedback on from the original book. People thought that birth defect explanation is too simple. So I dived into a little bit. If this is one of our members, they can look at the recording from the class that was just on this Sunday. I'm going to be putting I'll take that same presentation and turn it into a module for the nutrition course that's in there as well. And you got a copy of that whole chapter. The whole class got a copy of that chapter. They can read in more detail. But yeah, it can be more complicated than that. There's false type 1 as well. I'm not going to repeat the whole lecture here as well, but if it is truly type 1 and it's truly a birth defect, like Dr. Reese says, no, that's not reversible. The cake is baked. They will still need insulin for the rest of their life. But most of those people, we do see them reduce their insulin dose. We do see them reduce or eliminate other symptoms, right? It's because it's got nothing to do with any other symptom. Obesity, painful menstruation, PCOS, edema, arthritis, whatever other problems the person has, those can be fixed. If the pancreas is not producing enough insulin because it lacks the cells to do so, because it was only born with a certain amount and there's not enough for the adult, they still need insulin forever, period. But there's a ton of false T1 out there, ton of false type 1, pseudo type 1, I call it. And I've seen tons of people who are diagnosed way after puberty. That's the giveaway that it's false type 1.
Yeah, you need to be diagnosed roughly inside your first 12 years, I would think.
Yeah, if you're diagnosed in your 20s, 30s, 50s, 60s, 70s, I've seen this. People in the 60s and 70s who are diagnosed type 1, there's no way that's type 1. Something else is going on. There's other reasons why the body is no longer producing insulin. One of the clues is that thing I just mentioned, that process where the body's converting sugar into fat and the body runs out of fat cells. There's only so many fat cells, starts stuffing it into organs. Well, if it starts stuffing it into the pancreas, it can choke the pancreas out, and the pancreas is going to start underperforming. Think of a fat person. They don't perform as well as a fit person. Well, a fat organ is the same thing. A fat liver is not performing that well. It's not doing its job that well. pancreas has a lot of jobs to do. It's not going to be producing insulin as well if it's stuffed up full of fat. The prevailing theory currently is either autoimmune, which we talked about too on the lecture, and we'll talk about that in the module as well. I'm not going to go into that. Or burnout, pancreatic burnout. They say the pancreas just burns out. Well, that's the opposite of what always happens when an organ is under stress. When an organ or a body part or a hormone or something is being called upon, it does more of it, right? The body produces, if you start becoming insulin resistant, the pancreas produces more insulin, right? A liver or a heart that's working too hard gets bigger. It doesn't burn out. If it burns out, you die. So this whole pancreatic burnout thing is probably just referring to fatty pancreas that most people aren't even looking at or thinking about or checking for. And to me, that's the most satisfying theory of why somebody would stop producing insulin later in life. There's a bunch of nutrients involved in insulin production as well, tons of them. There's some herbs that can help as well. But yeah, if they haven't corrected the metabolic problem and they keep turning excess sugar into fat and keep stuffing that into organs, all types of organs are going to start to fail. Pancreas is just one of them. Anyways, that's a rant, but long story short, these false type 1 people, yes, I've seen plenty of them get off of insulin completely, reduce their insulin dramatically, and typically those people also have all the other symptoms of the metabolic syndrome: blood pressure problems, high cholesterol, kidney problems, right? The end stages of metabolic syndrome is cardiovascular disease here, basically. So all of those things can be reversed. And I believe that type 1 is just as rare now as it always was proportionally. There's this huge increase on the graph for most countries. It's going way up. That's all false type 1 to me.
Yeah.
Almost all.
All right. So we're over 7, right?
What do you want to do?
Yeah. Is there anyone in the member chat that has a victory or something they want to share?
Well, I really want to know how head to toe healing has changed your life. Honestly and truly, if anybody has any comments towards that, we could talk all day, but I would love to hear from others. How has it affected your life?
Don't be shy.
I got
Okay,
an
you
email
guys.
this morning from one of the members.
Here we go.
You can
Oh.
share. You can go. Who is
Karen?
that? Tamara?
Yes, this is Karen.
Oh, hello.
Hi. Okay. I just got off work, so anyway, I wanted to share with you guys. I have had pain in my bottom. I drive the school bus with special needs. I know I've mentioned it to you before. For 17 years, I've been like a fish out of water, from side to side to side to side, crying every day. And also with my shoulders, and I've had shoulder surgeries because it's so physical. I'm kind of out of breath because I just came in bringing stuff in from the car. But I am not feeling that anymore. The fish out of water. I every once in a while have a pain, like a sciatic or something, like in my either side. It goes back and forth. But I'm doing the posture therapy pretty much every morning for 15, 20 minutes. I try to catch it on replay because I work Monday through Friday. If I have the day off, I jump in unless something's going on, because I keep pretty busy. But I am not, after 17 years, feeling that fish out of water on my butt. I would go from side to side to side to side, crying, my leg up on my other leg, driving with my knee across my other knee, just like, I mean, it's just crazy. And the only thing, I'm not even on the 120. Like you said, Ryan, I kind of am, because I'm like 90%. But I just got off the poor fours pretty much in August. I went from 135, I'm down to like 117 right now. Just eating a lot different, posture therapy, taking the Ultimate Classic, and I haven't even got the stuff for the digestive system yet. I don't really have many problems with my stomach at all, but you said I needed it because I told you I had the hard stools and it's uncomfortable. Other than that, I'm not on any medicine or anything, but I cannot believe that fish out of water stuff has been gone for like almost 4 weeks.
Wow.
So the pain is gone.
the fish out of water pain where I was back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, trying to relieve myself driving that school bus. I've been going through that for 17 years, like crying almost every day. And my mom would always tell me, oh, you got to put fat on your butt, you know? But, but anyway, it's not there. Like I said, I have a little pain here and there once in a while, you know, but I'm not, nothing like it was before.
Well, you're
So,
healing,
still in
and
uniform.
you're
Yeah.
healing, and healing is a verb. So just keep going.
Yeah, I just think all of it put together is amazing. And everything you guys, there's so much to reach out, all of you guys. You give us notice when we have meetings and stuff. It's just amazing what you guys do. It's nobody else out there has anything like this.
Oh, thank you for acknowledging that.
It is really, really awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you for coming on, Karen. We really
Yeah,
appreciate it.
thank you. Okay. Have a good
17
evening.
years. This is
Yes.
what happens is, you know, we get people who have something for 17 years, 20 years, 30 years, and then all of a sudden,
I'm walking around looking for my glasses. Yeah, I was pretty amazed when it started going away. So, yeah, I've got a ways to go. I know I do. I'm not crying over my shoulders driving the school bus right now. Usually I'm crying by the end of the day. It depends on how far I have to go. But I haven't been, not even with my shoulders. I feel really good. So I'm going to continue to eat really good.
Yeah. Congratulations, Karen.
Yeah.
Wow.
Physical
up.
therapy, the PT, the posture therapy. I love it, you guys. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
thank you for sharing.
And 90 minerals.
Of course.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Take care. Well,
You too. Thank you.
what a way to end the show. Thank you, Karen, again. And
Unless there's anyone else that before we skedaddle.
There's one question that dropped in the
Okay.
chat for Mary. Is it bad to wear a Fitbit 24/7?
I'm not a fan of measuring anything.
But is it possible maybe EMF, Ryan? What do you think
It
about
is
that?
EMF.
EMF.
Stop it. There's an
Knocked
EMF module coming up. I'm hoping to be done by this weekend. We've been getting a lot of modules on that course. It's a really stacked course there. If you guys, the members, haven't seen it yet, it's sitting at 16 hours currently. And the EMF episode, yeah, might be an hour or two. I'm going to try and go deep in it because that's the one thing a lot of people are ignoring.
You know, Ryan, I have to say, I know we had talked a few weeks ago and I was having some things come up. You know what I realized it is? So I'm so cold up here in the mountains that I sleep on a heated mattress.
Oh, no.
pad.
Oh,
And my symptoms, I go back to when I started sleeping on it. So, and it's
Stop it.
exactly at the same, no, I stopped exactly at the same time. I'm like, what are these weird symptoms? Because I'm so cold. I'm like, I just have to be cold. Can't be laying on those cords.
Second blanket.
Huh?
Second blanket.
yeah.
You should see my house. Oh, it's cold in my house. Oh boy. 3 blankets in the winter. That's
Yeah.
it. That's the solution.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, interesting how that just me laying on that has affected my health in the last 2 months. Cause I was like, what is something that's different that I'm doing? And that's the only thing. And I'm like, yep, it started when I started sleeping on that thing. Maybe the insomnia too, even. Yeah. So
It's one of the big missing pieces there. And it's going to complete this program even more.
yeah, for sure.
I've got one quick testimonial I'd like to share. It's from one of our members. She emailed me this morning. I think she might be on the call, but maybe she doesn't want to speak up about it. Maybe she thinks it's not a massive thing, but she said, Ryan, oh my God, second night and not once any nasal congestion. Could this have been my issues the last how many years? If so, you will be a miracle I came across. Well, it's not a miracle. But yes, many people could be dealing with sinus congestion, nasal congestion. It can keep them awake. It can really interfere with your life. It sounds like a small thing, but to not have it anymore, that's a win. It's a win. It's only the second night here, but I bet it will continue. Even if it happens now and then, it should just get less and less and less over time until you forgot that you ever had it.
Good.
Nice.
Good.
Magic. No. Nutrients. All right, everybody. thank you for sharing that last testimonial, Ryan. Appreciate it. We appreciate everybody for tuning in, and
For
we will.
those on the social, tell them where to go.
Oh yeah, and for those on the social,
drkevinreese.com for everything. Dr.
Get into
Kevin
our
Reese.
membership, have an analysis.
Yeah.
watch the class with drreese.com.
Classwithdrreese.com.
Watch the class, learn about the practice, get on the phone with the coach,
Read his books.
all of that.
Yep.
All right, everybody. We'll see you guys next time.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.